The morning after G1 refused the Velthrak offer, she called every colonist to a meeting. All 35,000 people gathered in and around the main dome. She stood on a platform made from cargo containers and looked at the sea of tired faces. "We have 1 year," she said. Her voice echoed through speakers. 1 year to prove we can build a real colony. Not just survive, but thrive. The Velthrak are watching. The entire galaxy will judge us by what we do next. She paused. "I will not lie to you. This will be the hardest year of our lives. Harder than the journey here. Harder than leaving Earth. But if we succeed, our children will live free. They will stand equal with any species in the stars." Someone in the crowd shouted, "How?" "We are barely alive now." "By working together," G1 said. "By using every skill we have. By refusing to give up." She looked across the faces. "New rules start today. Everyone works 16 hours. 8 hours for sleep. No exceptions. Every person learns 3 new skills. We share everything we know. 0 waste. 0 shortcuts. We build this colony right, or we do not build it at all." The changes started immediately. G1 organized the colonists into teams: construction, agriculture, energy, research, medicine, education. Every person had a role. Every role mattered. Minji Choi took charge of building the real colony. The domes were temporary. They needed permanent structures that could last generations. She walked through the red dirt with a tablet, sketching plans. "We build into the ground," she told her team. "Underground stays warmer. Uses less energy, protects from radiation." Her teams dug into the planet. They used rock cutters and explosives from the ship. Slowly, a real city began to form below the surface. Tunnels connected living quarters. Gardens went deeper where the soil was richer. Solar panels multiplied across the surface like metal flowers. Yuna Lee worked miracles with the crops. She studied the alien soil every day. The dirt had strange minerals that Earth plants did not like. But Yuna was stubborn. She mixed Earth soil with local dirt in different combinations. She tested hundreds of ratios. Finally, she found it, a mixture that made the plants grow strong. "Look at this," she shouted one day, holding up a tomato. It was bigger than any tomato on Earth. Brighter red. "The local soil has something our plants love. We just needed to find the right balance," word spread fast. People gathered to see the giant tomato. For the first time in months, they smiled. Food meant life. More food meant hope. Dr. Soman Bay led the energy research team. She was a physicist who had studied fusion power on Earth. "We need more power," she told G1. "Solar is not enough. The reactors from the ship are failing. We need something new." Soman studied the Velthrak ship in orbit. She could not see inside it, but she could measure the energy it produced. "They use fusion," she said. "But better than anything we ever built. If I can understand the principles." She worked 18 hours a day, sometimes 20. Her team built test reactors in a cave far from the colony. They failed 7 times. Small explosions rocked the cave. Someone got burns on her hands. But on the 8th try, the reactor glowed with steady power. "We did it." She screamed into her radio. "Stable fusion! We have power." The fusion reactor changed everything. Lights stayed on all night. Water purifiers ran faster. Heat spread through the underground city. The colony stopped feeling like a camp and started feeling like a home. Junho Nam, an architect who had designed buildings on Earth, created plans for New Humanity City. That was what they called it now. Not New Seoul, something bigger. He designed towers that would one day reach toward the purple sky. Parks with earth trees growing in protected domes. Schools for children not yet born. People looked at his drawings and saw the future. They worked harder. Kyung-an, a psychologist, noticed the colonists were changing. The constant work could have broken them. But instead they were bonding. Shared suffering created shared strength. She started something called the Compact. It was a set of principles written by the colonists themselves. The Compact said, "We succeed together or fail together. Every person has value. Every voice matters. We learn from mistakes. We protect the weak. We honor those who died to get us here. We build for those who come after us." Everyone signed it. Even Dae Kang, who usually hated rules he did not make himself. The Compact became the heart of the colony. 6 months into the year, a Velthrak shuttle landed. Ambassador Kelrin stepped out with 2 others. They looked around at the changes. Solar panels covered the hills. Gardens stretched across the valley. Entrance tunnels led down to the underground city. Impressive progress, Kelrin admitted. You have built more than I expected. We are not finished, Ji-won said. Kelrin walked through the colony. He saw humans working together, laughing, building. He saw Yuna's massive crops. He saw the fusion reactor glowing. He saw children running through the tunnels, born after the landing. New life on an alien world. That night, Kelrin ate dinner with the senior staff. The food was simple but good. Bread made from alien grain, soup with giant tomatoes, water purified from underground rivers. You have achieved something remarkable, Kelrin said, but I must give you one final test. Everyone stopped eating. There is a Velthrak colony on a moon of this planet. Colony Omega-7, it is failing. Environmental problems. Our people there are dying. They have asked for help from the home worlds, but aid will not arrive for 2 years. He looked at Ji-won. I want you to help them. Why? Day asked suspiciously. Why would you ask us? You have better technology. Because I want to see if you only care about yourselves, Kelrin said, or if you can contribute to the galactic community. True civilization is not measured by what you build for yourself. It is measured by what you do for others. Ji-won felt trapped. If they said no, they proved the Velthrak right about humans being selfish. If they said yes, they risked their own colony. Resources were still tight. People were still struggling. She looked around the table. Minji nodded. Yuna nodded. Even Day, after a long moment, nodded. We will help, Ji-won said, but I have conditions. Your people must work with ours as equals. No orders, no condescension. Partners. Kelrin stood and extended his hand in the human gesture of agreement. Partners. The next morning, Ji-won called for volunteers for a rescue mission. She expected maybe 50 people. 500 raised their hands, engineers, scientists, farmers, doctors, people, who barely had enough for themselves willing to help alien strangers. She stood before the volunteers and felt something she had not felt in years. Not just hope. Pride, we are humanity, she told them. We fall, we fail. We suffer. But we also rise. We also help. We also love. Today we prove to the galaxy that humans are more than our worst moments. Today we show them our best. The volunteers loaded equipment onto shuttles. Seeds from Yuna's gardens, plans from Minji's designs, fusion technology from Soman's reactor. Everything they had learned in their year of struggle. As the shuttles lifted toward the moon, Ji-won watched from the surface. The purple sky was clear. Stars appeared in the evening. Somewhere among those stars, other species watched. Other civilizations judged. She spoke quietly to herself. We will not let you down. Any of you. Behind her, New Humanity City glowed with light. Power from human hands. Food from human determination. Hope from human hearts. The year was not over yet. But humanity was already winning. 6 months had passed since the landing. The colony of New Seoul looked like a collection of metal boxes scattered across the red dirt. 50 solar panels stood in crooked rows. 3 domes housed the surviving colonists. Gardens under plastic covers tried to grow food in the alien soil. It was ugly and desperate, but it was alive. Ji-won walked through the main dome and saw tired faces everywhere. People were losing hope. The work never ended. The food was always running short. 3 more people had died last week from equipment failures. The colony felt less like humanity's new beginning and more like a slow death. Yuna met her near the gardens. The agricultural specialist had dirt under her fingernails and exhaustion in her eyes. The crops are growing but slowly. The soil is missing nutrients we need. I am trying to fix it, but it takes time. How much time? Ji-won asked. Months. Maybe a year before we are truly stable? Ji-won nodded. A year felt like forever. She moved on to check the water recyclers. Everything in the colony was about survival. Wake up, work, sleep, repeat. This was not the glorious future they had imagined. That evening, young Mi-han burst into the command center. Her hands were shaking. Captain, the signal from the north. It is getting stronger. And there is something else. She pulled up a screen showing space above the planet. We have a ship entering orbit. Everyone in the command center froze. A ship meant intelligence. It meant they were not alone. It meant everything was about to change. How big? Day asked, already reaching for weapons. Huge, Young Mi said. 10 times the size of the Eternal Hope and its technology. She paused. Captain, it is far beyond anything we have. The alien ship hung in orbit like a dark moon. It made no aggressive moves. It just waited. For 2 days it waited. The colonists argued about what to do. Some wanted to hide, others wanted to try communication. Jiwon decided they had no choice. If the aliens wanted to hurt them, hiding would not help. Hyun worked with Youngmi to send a basic mathematical message. Prime numbers, the universal language, he said. They transmitted it toward the ship and waited. The response came in perfect English. Humans of Earth, we are the Veltrak. We mean you no harm. We wish to meet. The words appeared on every screen in the colony. People gathered around to read them over and over. Hyun laughed with joy. They speak our language. They studied us. This is incredible. Day did not look happy. How do they know our language? How long have they been watching us? A small shuttle descended from the Veltrak ship the next morning. It landed smoothly near the colony without making a sound. The technology was beautiful and terrifying. When the door opened, 3 Veltrak stepped out. They were tall and thin with silver skin and large black eyes. They wore clothes that seemed to shimmer and change color. They moved with grace that made humans look clumsy. One of them stepped forward and spoke. I am Ambassador Kelran of the Veltrak Communion. We detected your arrival 6 months ago. We have been observing your progress. Jiwon stepped forward. Her hands were sweating, but she kept her voice steady. I am Captain Jiwon Kim. We come in peace. We are refugees from Earth. Our world was dying. Kelran tilted his head. Yes, we know of Earth, we know of humanity. Your species has quite a reputation. Something in the way he said it made Jiwon nervous. What kind of reputation? The kind that concerns the civilized galaxy, Kelran said. Come, we should talk privately. They met in the colony's conference room. It was a small space with cheap furniture. Next to the elegant Velthrak, everything looked broken and poor. Kelran sat down and folded his long fingers together. Humanity is known to us, he began. Through your radio signals and deep space probes, we have studied your history, your wars, your destruction of your own planet, your violence toward each other. He paused. You are a dangerous species. Jiwon felt anger rise in her chest. We are survivors. Yes, we made mistakes, but we learned. We are trying to be better. Are you? Kelran asked. You have been here 6 months. Your colony is failing. Your people are dying. You have the knowledge to build better, but you make the same errors repeatedly. Minji spoke up from the back of the room. We are doing our best with limited resources. Exactly, Kelran said. Limited resources. Limited thinking. This is the human pattern. You consume until nothing remains, then you move to consume elsewhere. That is not fair, Hyun said. We came here to start over. To build something better. Kelran stood up. Then prove it. The Velthrak Communion offers you a choice. Accept our protection. Become a protectorate species. We will give you technology, resources, and guidance. In exchange, you will accept Velthrak oversight of your development. You will not expand beyond this system without our permission. You will not develop weapons beyond a certain level. You will live under our rules. The room exploded with voices. Some colonists who had snuck in to listen started shouting. They stood up angry. You want us to surrender our freedom? We did not cross the stars to become slaves. Not slaves, Kelran said calmly. Children. You are a young species. Reckless. You need guidance before you hurt yourselves or others. Jiwon held up her hand for silence. And if we refuse? Then you are on your own, Kelran said. We will not interfere, but we will also not help, and we will warn other species to avoid you. After the Velthrak left, the colony descended into chaos. People argued day and night. Some wanted to accept the offer. Life would be easier under alien protection. Others refused to bow to anyone. A young colonist named Taeyang Shin stood up during a public meeting. He was only 19, born just before the Eternal Hope launched. Listen to me, he shouted. They think we are weak. They think we are children. But look what we did. We destroyed one world and then crossed 1,200 light years to build another. We did that, not them. We suffer and die and keep going. That is not weakness. That is evolution. His words echoed through the dome. People started nodding. Even those who wanted to accept the Velthrak offer felt something stir inside them. Pride, anger, determination. Jiwon made her decision that night. She called Kelran through the communication system. His face appeared on the screen, looking curious. Ambassador Kelran, we have an answer to your offer. I am listening. No. We refuse. We will succeed or fail on our own terms. Humanity does not need masters. Kelran was quiet for a long moment. You surprise me, Captain. I expected you to accept. Your situation is desperate. Desperation makes us strong, Jiwan said. It always has. Very well, Kelrin said. I will give you 1 Earth year, 12 months. If you can prove that your colony can thrive, that you can build something sustainable and peaceful, the Velthrak will reconsider. We will treat you as equals, not children. But if you fail, the offer of protectorate status will remain, and you will accept it. The screen went dark. Jiwan sat in the silence and felt the weight of the entire species on her shoulders. 1 year to prove humanity was worth respecting. 1 year to show the galaxy that humans were more than their worst mistakes. She walked outside and looked at the purple sky. Somewhere up there, the Velthrak were watching, judging, waiting for humans to fail. She would not let that happen. None of them would. The Eternal Hope drifted through the black emptiness of space like a ghost ship. Inside its metal walls, 50,000 humans slept in frozen chambers. They had been sleeping for 80 years. Outside the windows, a pale blue planet grew larger with each passing hour. This was Kepler 442b, humanity's last chance. Captain Jiwan Kim stood on the bridge and stared at the planet below. Her reflection looked back at her from the glass. She looked tired. The ship's computer had woken her 3 months ago, but the other colonists still slept. She needed to make sure the planet was safe before waking them. So far, nothing looked safe. The atmosphere is too thin, said Dr. Hyun Park, reading numbers from his screen. He was the ship's science officer. The air has oxygen, but not enough. We will need masks for the first few years. Jiwan nodded. She had expected bad news. Earth was dying when they left. The oceans had risen. The forests had burned. Wars over water and food had killed billions. The United Earth government built the Eternal Hope as a final act of hope. They picked the healthiest, smartest, and strongest people they could find. Then they shot them into space toward a planet nobody had ever seen up close. What about water? Jiwan asked. There are ice caps at the poles, Hyun said. Underground rivers, too. We can work with it. Engineer Minji Choi walked onto the bridge carrying a data pad. She looked worried. Captain, we have a problem with the cryopods. I have been checking the systems. Some of them failed during the journey. Jiwan felt her stomach drop. How many? 15,000 pods show critical failures. The people inside. Minji could not finish the sentence. The bridge fell silent. 15,000 people. 15,000 mothers, fathers, children, and dreamers who would never wake up. They had crossed the stars only to die in their sleep. We still have 35,000, said Dae Kang, the security chief. He stood near the back of the bridge with his arms crossed. That is enough to start a colony. Jiwan wanted to punch him. But he was right. They had no choice. They could not go back. Earth was 1,200 light-years behind them. The Eternal Hope had used all its fuel to get here. This planet, this terrible, broken planet, was home now. Start the landing sequence, Jiwan said quietly. Wake the first group of colonists. We land in 6 hours. The ship shook as it entered the atmosphere. Warning alarms screamed. The hull burned hot as fire as they dropped through the thin air. Jiwan held tight to her chair and prayed to gods she did not believe in. They landed in a flat area near the equator. The ground was red dirt and gray rocks. No trees, no grass, just emptiness stretching to the horizon. Through the window, Jiwan could see the sky. It was a strange purple color, not the blue of Earth. 2 small moons hung in the afternoon sky. The first colonists began waking up. Jiwan watched them through cameras as they opened their eyes. Some cried. Some smiled. None of them knew yet that 30% of their friends and family had died on the journey. Yuna Lee was one of the first to wake. She was an agricultural specialist, which meant she knew how to grow food. Jiwan needed her awake fast. Without food, the colony would die in months. Where are we? Yuna asked when she could finally speak. Her voice was rough from sleeping so long. Kepler 442b, Jiwan said. Welcome to humanity's new home. Yuna looked at the planet through the window. Her face went pale. That is what we traveled 80 years to reach? That wasteland? That wasteland is all we have, Jiwan replied. Over the next week, more colonists woke up. The ship became loud with voices, crying, and anger. People demanded to know why the planet looked so dead. They asked when they could go back to Earth. Jiwan had to tell them the truth. There was no going back. Earth was gone. This was home. The engineers started building the first shelter outside the ship. It was a simple dome made of plastic and metal. Inside, they set up air processors to make the thin atmosphere breathable. It was not pretty, but it would keep people alive. Minji worked 20 hours every day. She barely slept. "We need more power," she told Jiwon. "The solar panels are not enough. This planet gets less sunlight than Earth." "Do what you can," Jiwon said. She did not know what else to say. Dae Kang organized security teams. He did not trust the planet. "We do not know what is out there," he said. "There could be predators, diseases, other things." "The scans show no large life forms," Hyun said. "Just bacteria in the soil." "Scans can be wrong," Dae replied. On the 10th day, Young Mi-han, the communications officer, ran to find Jiwon. She was breathing hard. "Captain, you need to see this." "I picked up something strange from the northern continent." Jiwon followed her to the communications room. On the screen, Young Mi showed her a pattern of energy readings. They pulsed in regular intervals. "Too regular to be natural, what is that?" Jiwon asked. "I do not know," Young Mi said. "But it is artificial. Someone or something made it." Jiwon stared at the screen. They were not alone. The colony was not just fighting against a dead planet. There was something else here, something they did not understand. That night, Jiwon called a meeting with her senior staff. She told them about the signal. Some people looked excited, others looked terrified. "We should investigate," Hyun said. His eyes were bright with curiosity. "This could be the discovery of a lifetime. We should focus on survival," Dae argued. "We barely have food and water. We cannot waste resources chasing signals," Yuna spoke up. "He is right. I have been studying the soil. We can grow food here, but it will be hard. Every person needs to work. We cannot spare a team for exploration." Jiwon listened to them argue. She understood both sides, but she also knew something else. The signal might be a threat, or it might be help. They needed to know which. "We investigate," Jiwon decided, but carefully. "Dae, pick a small team. Take weapons. If there is something dangerous out there, we need to know now, not when it shows up at our door." Later, alone in her quarters, Jiwon looked at a picture of Earth. It was old, from before the collapse. Blue oceans, green forest, white clouds, beautiful. She wondered if anyone still lived there. She wondered if Earth missed them. She put the picture away and recorded a message for the colony's log. Day 10 on Kepler 442b. "We have lost 15,000 people. The planet is barely livable. We found evidence of something artificial on the surface. I do not know what the future holds, but I know this. We did not come here to survive. We came here to prove that humanity deserves to continue. Whatever happens next, we will face it together." She ended the recording and looked out the window at the purple sky. Somewhere out there in the vast darkness between stars, Earth was dying. But here, on this broken world, humanity was being born again. The shuttles broke through the thin atmosphere of the moon and approached Colony Omega-7. Through the windows, Huan Yu, the rescue mission commander, could see the Velthrak settlement below. It was nothing like the human colony. Everything was precise. Perfect geometric shapes. Crystalline towers. Energy fields shimmering around structures. Beautiful and cold. "It looks fine from here," said Yoonji Park, the environmental engineer sitting next to him. "Why do they need our help?" "Looks can lie," Juan replied. They landed on a platform that adjusted itself automatically to fit the shuttle. Technology beyond human understanding. A group of Velthrak waited for them. They looked different from Ambassador Kelran. Thinner. Their silver skin had a gray tint. They moved slowly. One of them stepped forward. "I am Thelma, chief scientist of Omega-7. Thank you for coming. We did not expect humans to help us. We help those who need it," Juan said simply. "Show us the problem." Thelma led the 500 humans through the colony. Everything looked perfect on the surface. Clean streets, advanced machines. But as they went deeper, the humans saw the truth. Plants dying in garden pods, water recyclers covered in strange growth, air filters clogged, temperature controls failing. "It started small," Thelma explained. "A few plants died. We replaced them. Then the water began tasting strange. The filters stopped working properly. Now everything is breaking down faster than we can fix it." Yoonji knelt beside a dead plant. She pulled it up and examined the roots. They were covered in a thick slime. "This is not disease. This is ecological cascade. Something in your system is out of balance." "That is impossible," Thelma said. "We followed every protocol. Our methods have worked on 100 worlds, but not this moon, Yunji said. She looked around at the perfect structures. Your colony is too sterile, too controlled. You did not adapt to the local environment. You tried to force it to adapt to you. Thelma looked offended. That is the Velthrak way. We bring civilization. We do not bend to primitive conditions. Then your way is killing you, Juan said bluntly. We can help, but only if you listen. The Velthrak scientists gathered that evening. They were not used to taking advice from a younger species, but they were dying. 1,200 colonists with 2 years until rescue arrived. They had no choice. Yuna walked through their gardens with a team of human farmers. The Velthrak grew food in sealed pods with artificial light and synthetic nutrients. Everything controlled. This is wrong, Yuna said. Plants need variables, changes in temperature, natural microbes in the soil. You have created a dead system. Our system is scientifically perfect, a Velthrak farmer argued. Perfect for what? Yuna shot back. Perfect for your old worlds, maybe. But this moon has different gravity, different radiation levels, different minerals in the ground. You cannot use the same method everywhere. She showed them her hybrid crops from Kepler 442b. We mixed Earth methods with local conditions. We learned to adapt. That is what you need to do. The Velthrak scientists watched as Yuna's team opened the sealed garden pods. They brought in local soil mixed with their special formula. They adjusted the lights to match the moon's natural day cycle. They introduced bacteria from the moon's surface in controlled amounts. You are contaminating everything, a Velthrak shouted. We are creating life, Yuna corrected. Real, messy, complicated life. Not a laboratory. Minji took her teams to examine the colony structure. The Velthrak had built beautiful towers, but they ignored basic engineering. These buildings do not flex, she told Thelma. This moon has seismic activity. Small earthquakes. Your rigid structures will crack. They have not cracked in 3 years, Thelma said. They will, Minji promised. She showed her calculations. Stress points, failure predictions. In another year, maybe 2, your main tower will collapse. Thelma looked at the numbers and realized the human was right. What do? We add flexibility, Minji said. Her teams installed expansion joints in the towers. They added support structures that could bend. They used techniques humans learned from building earthquake-resistant structures on Earth. Rigid things break. Flexible things survive. Salmon Bay examined the Velthrak power systems. They ran on fusion, like the human reactor but far more advanced. Why is your power output dropping? She asked. We do not know, admitted a Velthrak engineer. It happens slowly. Every month a little less power. Salmon traced the energy flow. She found the problem in the cooling system. You are using water from the moon's ice caps. But the water has minerals you did not account for. They are building up in the cooling pipes, blocking flow. Our filters should remove those, the engineer said. Your filters are designed for your homeworld's water, Soman said. This is alien water. Different composition. She showed them how humans filtered water on Kepler 442b. Multiple stages, different materials. You have to work with what you have, not what you wish you had. Day by day, the Velthrak colony changed. Gardens that had been dying burst with new growth. Buildings stopped developing cracks. Power output stabilized and then increased. Water tasted clean again. The air felt fresher. Daekang spent his time checking security. He did not trust easily. On the 5th day, he found something wrong. A Velthrak technician named Sornal was sabotaging human repairs. Day caught him damaging a water filter the humans had just fixed. Why? Day demanded, holding the technician against a wall. Because you should not succeed, Sornal hissed. Humans are inferior. If you save us, the Velthrak communion will lose face. We will owe you. That cannot happen. Day brought Sornal to Thelma. The chief scientist looked shocked and ashamed. I am sorry, Thelma said to the humans. This is my failure. Some of our people cannot accept help from those we considered primitive. Pride is a dangerous thing, Juan said. It makes you stupid. Thelma had Sornal removed from the colony. Then she called a gathering of all Velthrak colonists. She stood before them and did something remarkable. She apologized. We were wrong, she said. We believed our technology made us superior. But technology without wisdom is useless. The humans survived on a harsher world with inferior tools. They did it by adapting. By being flexible. By learning, she paused. They are teaching us what we forgot. That real strength is not in perfection. It is in resilience. The Velthrak colonists stood silent. Then one by one they bowed to the human volunteers. It was a gesture of respect in Velthrak culture. Respect for equals. 3 weeks after the humans arrived, Colony Omega-7 was thriving. The gardens produced more food than before the crisis. The structures stood strong. Power flowed steadily. 1,200 Velthrak lives had been saved. Ambassador Kelran arrived to see the results. He walked through the changed colony with wonder on his face. "You did more than save them," he told Jiwan over a communication link. "You taught them. You shared everything freely. You asked for nothing in return. That is what civilized people do," Jiwan said. Kelran was quiet for a moment. "I was wrong about humanity. We all were. Your violence and destruction on Earth, they were the mistakes of children learning to walk. But you grew up. You learned. That is more impressive than a species that never made mistakes. It means you can change. You can become better. Does this mean we passed your test?" Juan asked. "You exceeded it," Kelran said. "I will recommend to the Velthrak communion that humanity be recognized as a sovereign species. Equal to us, partners in the galaxy." The humans celebrated that night. They gathered in the Velthrak colony's central plaza. Human and Velthrak together. They shared food, told stories, laughed at their differences, and marveled at their similarities. Thelma approached Juan with a small crystal. "This contains everything we learned from you. Methods, techniques, philosophy. We will share it with every Velthrak colony. You saved more than Omega-7. You may have saved our entire way of thinking." Juan took the crystal carefully. "Then we both win." As the shuttles prepared to return to Kepler 442b, Thelma asked Yunji a question. "Why did you help us? We looked down on you. We called you primitive. You owed us nothing," Yunji smiled, "because that is what humans do. We fall down. We get back up. We help others get back up too. We learned the hard way that we are all in this together. All of us, humans, Velthrak, whoever we meet next. The universe is too big and too dangerous to face alone." The shuttles lifted off, leaving behind a thriving Velthrak colony and a new understanding between species. Juan looked back at the moon shrinking below them and felt something profound. Humanity had not just proven themselves. They had made friends among the stars. The real test had been passed. Now the future could truly begin. 5 years had passed since the Eternal Hope landed on Kepler 442b. New Humanity City was no longer a desperate camp. It was a real city. Towers reached toward the purple sky. Gardens covered the hills with green earth plants and native alien vegetation growing together. Underground, 50,000 people lived in comfort and safety. Children played in parks. Schools taught the next generation. The city hummed with life and hope. But today, Jiwon Kim was not looking at her city. She was on a Velthrak ship traveling faster than light toward the galactic core. She wore formal clothes made by the colony's best tailors. She carried the weight of humanity's future on her shoulders. "Nervous?" asked Ambassador Kelran, sitting across from her. Over the years, he had become something like a friend. "Terrified," Jiwon admitted. "I am about to speak to the leaders of 47 alien civilizations. One wrong word could doom humanity forever." "You saved a Velthrak colony," Kelran reminded her. "You built a thriving city from nothing. You have already proven your worth. To you, maybe. But what about the others?" The ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel near a massive space station. It was bigger than a moon. Thousands of ships from hundreds of worlds docked at its ports. This was the heart of the Galactic Federation. The place where civilized species met to discuss trade, peace, and the future. Jiwon felt very small. The Federation Council chamber was enormous. 47 species sat in a circular arrangement. Some looked almost human. Others were completely alien. Beings of light. Creatures with 6 legs. Things that floated in liquid-filled spheres. All of them ancient. All of them powerful. In the center of the circle stood a platform. This was where Jiwon would make humanity's case. She walked to it with her head high. Even though her heart pounded, a holographic display showed Earth, scarred and healing. It showed Kepler 442b with New Humanity City glowing on its surface. Elder Counselor Rixtar spoke first. He was from a species called the Anthari. They had been spacefaring for 8,000 years. They looked like tall insects with crystalline exoskeletons. His voice was cold and clicking. "The humans of Earth seek membership in the Galactic Federation, but we must address their history. They destroyed their homeworld. They waged countless wars. They drove hundreds of species to extinction. They poisoned their air and water. They killed billions of their own kind. The hologram showed images of Earth's darkest moments: mushroom clouds, burning forests, floods drowning cities. Why should we trust such a species? Jiwan had known this was coming. She did not flinch. We should not be trusted because we were perfect. We should be trusted because we learned. Learned? Rikstar's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. You learned only after destroying everything. That is not wisdom. That is desperation. You are right, Jiwan said. The council chamber went silent. They had expected her to argue. We were desperate. We had destroyed our world. We were dying. We could have given up. We could have turned on each other in our final days. But we did not. We chose to try. We built the eternal hope and sent 50,000 people into the unknown. Not to conquer, not to exploit, to survive. And when we arrived at Kepler 442b, we could have made the same mistakes. We could have taken everything the planet had without thought. But we adapted. We learned to live with the planet, not against it. Dr. Yun Park stood from the visitor section. He had been invited to speak about the colony's ecological work. New Humanity City exists in balance with Kepler 442b's native ecosystem. We studied the planet's microbes. We protected its unique geology. We grow food using methods that enrich the soil, rather than deplete it. We learned from Earth's mistakes, another counselor spoke. This one looked like a being made of water and light. But you have been on Kepler 442b for only 5 years. 5 years against 8,000 years of human violence. How do we know this change is permanent? Minji Choi stepped forward. She had helped build not just New Humanity City, but the relationship with the Veltrak. Because we teach our children differently now. They learn about Earth's failures first. They study ecological balance before they study engineering. They practice cooperation before competition. The children born on Kepler 442b, they do not think like the humans who destroyed Earth. They think like the humans who will build the future. Yuna Lee added, we shared everything we learned with the Velthrak at Colony Omega 7. We asked for nothing. When they needed help, we gave it freely. That is who we are now. Rikstar was not convinced. One act of charity does not erase millennia of violence. I vote against human membership. They are too dangerous. Several other counselors murmured agreement. Jiwan felt her hope cracking. Then Ambassador Kelran stood. May I speak for the Veltrak Communion? The council allowed it. Kelran walked to stand beside Jiwan. 5 years ago I met these humans. I expected to find the monsters from their history. I found something else. I found a species that had survived their worst nature and emerged stronger. When I tested them, I expected them to fail. They succeeded beyond my imagination. When I asked them to help a dying Veltrak colony, I expected them to refuse or demand payment. They sent 500 volunteers with everything they could spare. He paused. The humans saved 1,200 Velthrak lives. They taught us that rigid perfection is weakness. That adaptation is strength. They gave us gifts we did not know we needed. Thelma, who had traveled from Colony Omega 7, stood as well. I am alive because of humans. My people are alive because they adapted methods we were too proud to see. Humanity's greatest strength is not their technology or their knowledge. It is their ability to change, to admit mistakes, to grow. A counselor who looked like a floating crystal spoke. But change can go both ways. They changed for the better now. What stops them from changing for the worse again? A young voice rang out. I do. Everyone turned. A teenage girl walked down from the visitor section. She had been born on Kepler 442b. She had never seen Earth except in recordings. Her name was Nari Song, and she represented the first generation of humans born under alien stars. I am 16 years old, Nari said. I have lived my entire life on Kepler 442b. I learned about Earth's mistakes in school. I cried when I saw the videos of extinct animals. I got angry when I learned about the wars. But my teachers did not just show me what humans did wrong. They showed me what we did right. Art, music, science, love, sacrifice. Every species in this chamber made mistakes when they were young. Humans made big ones. But we own them. We teach them. We promise to do better. She looked around at the ancient aliens. You have had peace for thousands of years. We earned ours through suffering. That makes it precious to us. We will not throw it away. The chamber was silent. An elder from a species that looked like living shadows spoke. The child speaks wisdom. Perhaps youth and age are not so different. We judge humans by their past, but we should judge them by their future, what they choose to become. Another counselor stood. I was prepared to vote against humanity, but I am convinced. They have shown more growth in 5 years than some species show in centuries. I vote yes. One by one, counselors began to declare their votes. Some voted no, unable to forget humanity's history. But more voted yes. They saw potential. They saw change. They saw a species that had fallen as far as possible and climbed back up. Rixtar remained standing. I maintain my vote against, but I acknowledge I may be wrong. Time will tell. The final count appeared on a holographic display. 38 in favor, 7 against, 2 abstentions. Humanity had been accepted into the Galactic Federation. Jiwan felt tears on her face. She did not hide them. Around her, the human delegation embraced. Strangers from 47 worlds applauded in their own ways. Sounds, lights, vibrations, a symphony of approval. That night, Jiwan stood on an observation deck looking at the stars. Kelren joined her. How do you feel? He asked. Grateful, scared, hopeful. She smiled. Human, what will you do now? Go home, tell my people. Then we start building humanity's first faster-than-light ship. We have so much to explore, so many species to meet, so much to learn. And to teach, Kelren added. Do not forget you have things to offer the galaxy. Like what? Resilience, adaptability, hope. Kelren looked at her. You came from a dying world and built a new one. You faced extinction and chose survival. You were offered easy lives as a protected species and chose freedom. That is powerful. That inspires others. Back on Kepler 442b, the news spread through New Humanity City. People poured into the streets celebrating. Children waved flags they had made. Adults hugged strangers. In schools, teachers told students that they were now citizens of the galaxy. Taeyang Xin, now 24 and an engineer, stood with friends watching the celebration. We did it, he said quietly. We actually did it. Our parents did it, his friend corrected. They survived when survival was impossible. No, Taeyang said. We all did it. Every person who chose to keep trying. Every person who planted a seed or fixed a machine or taught a child. That is what makes us human. We do not give up. High above the city, construction began on humanity's first faster-than-light ship. It would be called the New Dawn. It would be built with human hands and Velthrak knowledge. It would carry explorers and diplomats, scientists and dreamers. It would prove that humanity belonged among the stars.